Hello, my friends. I'm Elaine, and this is my kitchen. I'm super excited that you're joining me today. It's a bit chilly outside. We're approaching the fall season. Who can believe it? My gosh, it seems like it should be February or March right now. But nonetheless, I do love fall. It's actually my favorite season of the year. And I not only love the cool weather, sweaters, but definitely the fall foods. And if you guessed what we're making today, chili, you did a good job. So this is going to be a super easy recipe. We're going to be using canned veggies. We do have some fresh that we're going to be putting in, but that's the other thing. I tend to pull out my crock pot quite a bit during the fall or winter months, and that just allows that cooking to happen without me having to nurse it over the stove. So I'm always excited about that. I hope you don't go away. Keep watching and let's make some of the best chili, 5-bean chili you've ever had. We're gonna start our chili over by the stove. And right now I do have a pan on the stove top right now. And I'm going to add a little bit of oil. I have about a tablespoon of oil there that I'm going to start that out with. I'm going to let my stove top get nice and hot, and then I'm going to add in the onions and the carrots. I think that is a nice temperature. The great thing about a crock pot is if you did not wish to start off your recipe on the stovetop like I'm doing now, no worries, you don't have to do it. You can just throw everything into the crock pot and be done with it. So that looks like it has a bit of color on it. We're gonna stop right there. I turned the stovetop off, and we're gonna start loading everything into the crock pot. The crock pot is here on the countertop. I do not have it on as yet. I'm going to layer in the ingredients for the 5-bean chili. I'm going to start with the onions, carrots, and garlic that I started on the stove. So I put that in the crock pot as the base. And you can definitely make your carrots chunkier if you want. Just a random chop for those guys though, so nothing necessarily special about it. I'm gonna go ahead and just add in my tomato paste. And this is an organic paste. Get that out. That's gonna help with some beautiful color as well as flavor. And if you want, you can just kind of stir that together just to kind of not have a clump of it. But great thing about a crock pot, again, you can just dump everything in and it just turns out so beautiful. Okay, so there's that. I am also going to add my tomatoes, and this is fresh tomatoes, so about 4 tomatoes, and I usually try to save the juice from the pulp, by running it through a sieve to kind of get as much juice as I can from the pulp, and but not take the seeds. So that's what I did there. I'm going to go ahead and layer in some collards. So this may be something that you've not tried in your chili. I have 4 cups here, and I just basically kind of tore them. And you can definitely do both are kind of bitter kale collards, but you can do a different leafy green. You want one that's gonna hold up though to the cooking of, you know, like a crock pot or something like that. I'm gonna go ahead and add in about a cup of roasted peppers. And if you are pressed for time or don't have peppers like readily available, or roasted peppers, you can go ahead and just use the bell pepper. This is actually, you can see it's one of my little food saver bags. So when I had a surplus of peppers, I roasted them and just put them in the food saver bag to freeze them for when I might need them at a later date, like today. If you notice, each packet was a 1/4 cup, and that makes it super easy. But sometimes when you're working on something a little smaller, it's nice to scale it back. And those were in the freezer, so you can just pull it out and thaw it as you may need it. I do need about 3 cups of vegetable broth. And this is 4 cups. So I'm just going to pour enough. Actually, I should give that a good shake. Going to add my oregano. So I have 1½ teaspoon of oregano. I have 1 teaspoon of chili powder. I have 1 teaspoon of kosher salt, a 1/2 teaspoon of paprika, and then I have rinsed and drained my beans. So I have 5 different beans here. I have 3 cans of tri-colored beans. So that's going to be your black bean, your kidney bean, and your pinto bean. You can also just do 1 can of black beans, 1 can of pinto beans, 1 can of kidney beans, and you have your 3 beans there. I always buy the tri-colored bean, so that's what I had on hand. So I just used 3 cans of those. And then I also have Great Northern beans, a can of those, and also a can of garbanzo beans. So I'm going to go ahead and get those beans in. And since the beans are already basically cooked, I don't have to allow this to cook like for the full 8 to 10 hours on low. So I can shorten the cook time. Basically, everything is in there. You don't even have to stir it in a crock pot. So, and of course, if you do cooking with the crock pots, you're very aware of that. Get that situated. Okay. So everything is in the crock pot for 5 bean chili. So I'm going to go ahead, turn this on to get started. You may have a program that you like to run with yours. I'm just going to go ahead and enter it manually. So I'm going to select my time, and I'm going to let it go for about 6 hours. And I want it on low. and it is going to start cooking. That's all that's to it. I love the crock pot. So it's going to cook for 6 hours. I will come back and check on it at that time, or probably a little bit thereafter. I'm getting this started later in the evening so that we will have lunch available for us tomorrow. So I'm not going to get up in the middle of the night to check on it. It's going to be okay. It'll just kind of turn itself off. But yet you have a meal that you did not have to slave over the stove for. So I hope you enjoy this recipe, and I will definitely come back when it is finished, give it a little taste test, maybe tweak the flavor a little bit if need be. And definitely, if you want to do something like that, maybe add in some jalapenos or serrano peppers, definitely do that. I would love a little bit more heat, so that's probably something that you could add. My son does not like heat, so I want him happy with what he eats. So I did not add any peppers, but that definitely would be a nice add-in for a little bit of that spice. Welcome back. So the chili is complete, and yum. Take a look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? So you have your 5 beans in here. You have the health of the collards in here as well. You have your carrots. It's just visually appealing, as well as basically meeting all the requirements of the rainbow, which is excellent. So I'm just going to scoop a little bit out, get that into my bowl, and then let's have a taste. Super yummy. The beans are the right texture. If you are carnivore and will be missing your meat, you can always add in ground beef, of course, to this dish. If you want to add something to the top of it, let's say like toasted corn, maybe a little bit of vegan sour cream, cornbread, like you could make that on the side and serve it. I used to always, whenever I had chili, made a side of cornbread, and my son loves that pairing. But there's so much that you can do with this, or just consume it as is. For me, I do taste that chili powder. I would like to perhaps up it from 1 teaspoon to about 1.5 to 2 teaspoons, especially 2 teaspoons if I'm not putting any jalapenos or serrano peppers in it. But of course, that would be also, again, a great add, a little bit of bite to it. My son, again, doesn't like the hot foods, so I always pull back on adding those. But I hope that this recipe maybe becomes a staple for your fall time or over the winter, and you enjoy it as much as we do. I'm so happy that you could join me today. Thank you for subscribing. And if you've not already subscribed, I will ask that you please do. I have a lot of new content that's coming. And of course, I'd love to hear from you all. If there's something that you like, let me know. If there's content that you'd like to see, please let me know that as well. I may not be able to get to all the different content that's requested, but it would be great to know what you're looking for. I hope you stay healthy, well, safe, and join me again soon. Bye for now.